This project is experimenting with VFX. In this one, we learned how to go into the actual particle systems of an object and edit them. So if you go into the actual particle system prefab here, you can see how the particles are playing, and I can pause them, play them, stop them, play them again, and this is how you kind of control them. You're able to hit F here, and we can actually focus in on them. Don't want to focus in too far. And then I actually was able to edit the color here, and as well as the actual visual effects of that. And then we also have our snow particles. So when we play the scene here, I'll give you kind of an idea of what it looks like. So you can see we have our different particle effects coming off the top here, the smoke different color, the ambient lighting around it, as well as the snow falling from the sky. All different particles that you can add in. As you can see, I made my snow a little big so you can see the snow. I think it's kind of funny, but anyway. You can see here that, so this is the point light, so this is going to be the actual light of the fire pit that's coming out of it. I changed it to this color purple here to match the actual particles of the fire pit. And if you go to the sparks here, these are all different settings that we can edit on the particles themselves. So looping will change whether or not it plays continuously throughout the actual, when we play the actual scene, if it'll loop over and over again, or if it'll only play one time. Then we give the particles physics using the rigid body. And then there's the emission. So then this is going to control how many of those particles are going to, be emitted over time, usually per second. Then we have the shape of the particles, the actual emission point, and like how they're going to be emitted. And I can show you how like changing that affects things as well. This is the color over time, so this is actually going to be a gradient slider for the starting color and then the ending color of the particle. And then you can see here that the noise of the particle has changed. And then we can use the renderer here to actually add the material for the particle on and make it look like the actual sparks material. And then if we go to the actual snow here, we can see if we go to that emission shape and we change it to something like a box, you can see all the snow is now kind of spawning in this one little box. Then we can change it to a sphere, and all the snow is kind of going outward in the sphere direction. Then we can go back to cone, and it'll fall normally. Then we go over here, and this is the second part of the tutorial area, but the final tutorial area. So this is where we're doing the smoke burst, and this is kind of a smoke burst for your fire. This one, you learn how to actually go in and edit the texture sheet animation, as well as editing the actual texture in the shader. More of using the emission shape. This time we use a sphere, and we played around with the emission type instead of a rate over time. It's a burst that happens. And then we played around with the size as well, making it from a constant to constant start lifetime instead of a normal one. And then went through and actually played with the particle like pathing system. So how the particles themselves are going to react to the different paths. So if we made this, and then we did that, so you can see it kind of goes up like that. And that's my preferred one. There's a couple different ones that I like. This one's a little bit more out there. I don't prefer that one. But the shape is something that is really fun to play around with, and then it obviously is helpful for different types of particles. As you can see with the fireflies here, if we go into the snow, we can see that the snow has a different kind of spawn rate than the snow that we made in the previous one, and you can kind of see the difference between the rate over time of that. But they made theirs much lighter, and if we went to mine, you'd see that it was a little bit different, much heavier snow than that one. Yeah, overall I learned how to do different visual effects in particles and how to expand them, create my own little particle down here in the hierarchy using the plus, and then you go to effects, particle system, and then you can create a whole new particle system, and you can adjust its area based on where you want it to be, what object you want it to be coming from, so on and so forth. And then you can adjust all those good settings to make the particle that you want it to be and add your own material and shader and texture.